here is where the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Pilecki goes, dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Pilecki. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. You know, it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vita Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass a little. A 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Following the opening 2 race venues at Watkins Glen and Sebring, VIR may be one of the lesser known of North American road courses. However, with a variety of different twists and challenges, Virginia International Raceway is certainly a hidden gem for road course racers. Hello everyone and welcome to where we're getting set to watch round 3 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship live here on the #1 North American broadcaster for iRacing, the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Samuel Ryman and alongside me in the booth is Richie Hearn. Behind the scenes we have our director Amjad Yamin and he is using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Richie, road course racers who have tackled this track either love it or hate it, and to be honest, usually that love-hate relationship is based on whether they can keep a car on track here or not.
Yeah, this is an unbelievable track here in North America. I think it's underappreciated for sure. I've never driven it, but I have been there, and it's a beautiful part of the country. But it's a tricky one. It's very blind, a lot of blind corners, a lot of rises, bends, a lot of grass. So if you get off, you're sent off into the forest. We are running a 17-turn course here. It is 3.3 miles. And let's jump on board for the GSRC lap guide to get a better view of what we're trying to do here.
All right, we've got Johan Orlampi and the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around VIR. Coming down the front stretch, the horseshoe is going to be a very popular place to pass. Heavy braking and the draft will certainly offer opportunities. This 2-part corner has a deceptively late apex on the first half though, so try not to turn in too early. You should be able to power through the second apex, but line the car up to the right because you'll want a nice wide line through the kink leading to NASCAR Bend. It'll be easy to dip a wheel entering this left-hander, so expect a few drivers to lose it. Then we hit left hook. This is a very slow and frustrating chicane, but it leads directly into the snake. A little lift will get you through, then straight line these S's. Hopefully, you got to the power pretty quickly. You need the momentum along this part of the circuit since you won't be lifting until you hit South Bend. But before that, we've got to weave through the climbing S's. Try to avoid going too wide through here because it'll get messy very quickly. Then, hold right for the best entry into South Bend. If anyone understeers wide, they're likely to lose control. Switch sides fast and then blow it up for Oak Tree. Let it swing out after the first apex and then just clip that inside curb while you get back to the power. It is extremely important that you get a good run down the back straight. It's all uphill and it's a very long acceleration zone. You'll be under attack pretty quickly if anyone outguns you onto here. The problem is, if they only manage to get side by side, I wouldn't advise trying to keep next to them into the roller coaster. The kinked entry makes braking incredibly tricky into this slow, blind right-hander. Right away, the track weaves its way back downhill, but get the car off to the right and try to spot your turn in for hogpen. Once again, the bend of the road makes slowing up the car a bit difficult. But just like a number of corners around here, you'll find the critical aspect is getting to the gas coming out of the bend. We're now coming back up the pit straight, and you've finished a lap around VIR.
And that's just how tricky this track is with one car around here. We have a total of 20 cars about to race around this course, and as we mentioned, this is the third race of their season. So let's take a quick look at the point standings coming into this race. Not only the driver's standings, but the team championship as well. And you see these drivers, there are 4 teardrops at the top of the driver's standings there. Each of those means a drop week. They will have 4 drop weeks by the end of the season. Of course, since we're only 2 races into the championship right now, we're not accounting for any of those so far. Drano Friesch off to a nice start, but not too far away from his competitors behind. And these are based off of the iRacing official point standings. Friesch getting a good points day last week with the victory over at Sebring. Let's take a look at the team championship as well. Now, these team standings, each team only gets 2 drop weeks accounted for by the end of the season. The season's lasts 12 weeks, so your best 10 out of 12 results will count. You can see these teams based off of the 1980 Formula 1 teams. It's Team Agostini up there right now with a 4-point lead over Ligier. Ferrari back then, a close battle with McLaren. Also with Ram Racing at the bottom of the top 5 right there. So things very close early on in the season, Richie. Let's take a look at our race details.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, we're at round 3 of 12. We do have 4 driver drops and 2 team drops. That'll come into play a little bit later. This race is going to be 26 laps, and the setups are open. No reason to stops for fuel or tires. They'll just go the whole distance. We do have our standard 17X incidents, so anything more than that, you will be disqualified. And as you stated, we'll be also using the official iRacing points for this series.
Now you see cars currently on track. They are halfway through an 8-minute long qualifying session. Each of the drivers has the track to themselves for 8 minutes. They can turn 2 laps. So do an out lap, 2 hot laps, and then you don't really have to worry about doing an in lap here on iRacing. As long as you get your second hot lap in by the time the clock reaches 0, you've done the best you can. Currently we're riding on board Daniel Banker in the number 11 machine. With this being an official iRacing series, the cars are numbered 1 through 20 in this 20-car field based on their iRating, basically a system iRacing uses for ranking. It's all theoretical. In theory, the number 1 car should win and the number 20 car will finish towards the back. And right now, you see it there on the top of our screen there, Richie. The number 1 car is on provisional pole with Drano Friesch looking to extend his points lead.
Yeah, and that's definitely not a shock to anybody. He's been the class of the field for a while now. Started on pole and won the last race at Sebring as well. And he's got a familiar foe right behind him in second place, but he's a good, healthy 4/10 behind him. So he's got a little bit of time to make up for this qualifying session. There we go. We got Pisto on green right. And this is definitely a tricky track. If you watch these guys in practice, they're sliding and going off the track all over the place. Not a lot of room to make a mistake. Like I said earlier, if you do go off, you can see all the green grass everywhere, and it just kind of sends you out into the barrier. It's really hard to recover from it off here.
Let's take a quick look at the weather as we enter the final 2 minutes of qualifying here. You mentioned this is a tricky track, Richie. However, a fairly cool racetrack out there. So that means the tyres won't take a whole lot of abuse during the 26 laps here. But it does create some trouble at the start of a race. Cold track and cold tyres could result in a bit of early drama.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. And these tires back in '79, they were bias ply tires, so they were able to withstand the whole distance. They didn't do pit stops back then. I think having a cold track actually makes it harder than if it was hot. So those opening laps might be a little tricky, something to watch, especially the standing start.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not just that's going to make the opening lap here tricky, Richie. It's the very nature of these opening 3 corners around here. I mean, our viewers got to see it on the lap guide earlier on. that it's really hard to find the apexes for the first few turns on this lap, and that could result in some drivers not necessarily knowing where their competitors are going when they're all bunched together on the opening lap.
Yeah, there's a lot of blind entries, and they're fast as well. So if you're not spot on as you enter the corner, you're going to find yourself a little bit wide. And there's not very many straight sections. So even though we have some fast S's and things like that, there's not much of a straight area that they can kind of just relax a little bit. They're always busy. And it's a beautiful place to drive, but it's going to be a handful, I think, in these cars for these 26 laps.
Already proven a handful for two names we've grown familiar with, Ove Trantre and Timo Toika. Looks like they both had incidents during their qualifying times and will have to start from the back of a grid. And qualifying is over, so let's take a look at your full starting grid. 0.6 of a second. That is a massive gap between Jarno Friesch over second on the grid, Antti Lepisto. Carly Rucola will be starting third. Alongside him, Martin Granberg. James Wilson rolls out from fifth place in the number 4 car, ahead of Pablo Suarez. Daniel Banker starting in seventh, alongside Barry West, who has had an up and down opening 2 weeks. Jose Diaz starting in ninth, ahead of Robert Simpkins.
Kevin Kolsch starts 11th, along next to Nathan Clark in the 12th position. We got Charles Eric Lemelin in 13th. Pekka Kalahala in 14th, Francisco Javier Gutierrez in 15th, and then we got Arthur Rast, Johnny Bell in the next row in 16th and 17th. Ove Trenkered, who had a problem in qualifying, is 18th. Same thing with Timo Toika, and then starting 20th will be Steve Sarlis.
And all 20 of those drivers in the session getting gridded up for the 26-lap race here. Only 1 minute left until the lights go out. Still waiting for Lepisto and Rucola to line up on the grid, starting in second and third positions there, maybe making a couple of last-minute setup changes.
Well, they're taking this down right to the very last minute here, and like you said, probably deciding what to do for tire pressures and things and the fuel load. This ought to be an interesting standing start. As you can see that the straight kind of curves around. The first turn is a really good passing zone, and it's pretty wide as well, so we might see about 3 wide going through there.
I think it's just Rucola we're waiting to see get gridded up right now. He's got 5 seconds left to do it, or else he's going to lose that highly desired third place on the grid. There he finally appears right before the lights come up. And here they come, about to turn on. Friesch on pole position, Lepisto alongside him on the outside. And the lights are off and away they go. Not a great start by Friesch. In fact, a bit of a horrible start by Friesch. Lepisto already pulled up right alongside him. Going to have a nose on the outside as they come into the first corner. And almost has Friesch cleared. He does. So Lepisto takes the lead. Down to second goes Friesch. Rucola comes out in third. A fantastic start by Suarez. He started 6th. He's up to 4th.
That's exactly what Kale needed to do, because Gurno tends to get in front and then kind of take off. So Kale had to make that move and then see if he can hold them off, because sometimes there's just no chance to pass here, as you can see as they weave their way back and forth through these S's.
That was Jose Diaz. You may have seen spinning off at the back of your screen there. He's able to continue, but loses a lot of time. Track position may also have a bit of damage on that number 10 machine that started in 9th place, as Lepisto just led them up in the S's and now down to the bottom of the hill there, where the late oak tree still stands here on the virtual sim.
And here they come onto that backstretch. It's the longest straight they have here. These 3 guys have broken away from the rest of the pack. They're already about 3 seconds ahead of James Ross in 4th. So this could be our battle for the win as we keep going down this back straightaway. And Gurno's going to look, but not quite there. This is a really tricky section as we head on downhill through these back S's.
Downhill means you don't have a lot of traction here. I did a track day once at this circuit, saw a Corvette spin right out in front of me coming out of that final turn. Fortunately for the leaders, they're a bit more fortunate this time around. Lepisto leads lap number 1, but Friesch after a poor start, wants to get that top spot back. He's going to try and do what Lepisto did to him on the opening lap and go around the outside of turn 1. That's not going to work, though. He can't waste too much time side by side because Rucola might be able to find a way to capitalize. Top 3 have already broken 4 seconds clear of the rest of the field.
Yeah, and Gurno, I think, was aware that Kale was looking on the inside as he was looking outside of Lepisto. So far, just holding steady, and these guys are racing clean right now.
Well, we've got 1 spinner down in turn 1, actually 2 spinners. Steve Salis has gone around, and Nathan Clark. Wouldn't be surprised if this was related. See, this is coming down into turn 1. We pick up the replay.
Yeah, this next section too is a little tricky because it kind of sucks you in, and it just looks like someone spun and then just caught Steven off guard.
Fortunately, it doesn't look like any contact. Meanwhile, well, we'll get another replay here, but yeah, as we cut back to live action, let's go back up front because Friesch is challenging Lepisto at the end of a back straight.
Yeah, he was trying pretty hard to outbreak Enti into that first corner, and still Kale's just lingering in the back there, waiting for a moment to take that second place from Gurno.
Yeah, as they come out of a hog pen, Lepisto has a bit of an advantage over Friesch. Friesch will maybe try and make a move down the inside, but Lepisto just too late on the brakes.
Going back to the mid-pack here, we got Ove and Timo, who usually run up front. Obviously had some problems in qualifying. They've moved themselves up to 11th and 12th, respectively. So they're carving their way through the field, and I don't know if they'll have enough time to get up front, but you know, they're going to be able to make their way up into the top 5 by before we know it.
See Ove Trandre making his way through the field. One driver going the wrong direction. Charles-Eric Lemelin was very slow on the front straight, and I do see some damage to the front end of his number 14 machine.
Up front, we're having a really good battle for second place. Ente's kind of separated himself by about a half a second to Gurno. Meanwhile, Kale's all over Gurno, for looking to get by at any moment he can. Yeah,
so Friesch, this is where he was challenging Lepisto. I don't know if he's running less win or if the draft is just that strong down that back straight. But it does look like he's appearing to be going about 5, maybe even 10 miles an hour, quick up the hill. That's one thing we should say about that back straight. Even though it's long and fairly straight, it goes uphill quite substantially, which I'm sure that's got to help for drivers who do have a slipstream.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to also determine how much downforce these guys are running, so it's got a lot of drag on these cars if you crank that wing up, but obviously you get more grip. We see a replay here. Gutierrez getting into that was Gutierrez getting hit by somebody. I couldn't tell who that was.
We go back live, a bit of drama for Nathan Clark as he came out of Hog Pen. He had a spin in the final turn, but keeps it going. All 20 cars, despite the drama we've seen at the back of the field, all 20 cars still in the race, still on the lead lap, still going around. Haven't seen anyone come down into the pits. Of course, they don't have to. And it's good when we don't see any cars in the pits. That means they're all able to continue, albeit with a couple of cars having more scratches and dents than before. Friesch is a lot closer to Lepisto this time coming out of Oak Tree. Let's see if he can get a good run as they go down the back straight and up towards the roller coaster. They will hit the braking zone at about 170 miles an hour. He's got a nice run here, Richie.
Yeah, he is. And like I said, draft is really strong. He's going to try the outside once again. And I don't think he's going to be able to make it. And he holds tight. I'm also watching this battle for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Robert Simpkins and Kevin Kolschi. They're going too deep into this straightaway here, like a pace lap almost.
Kolschi going to try and make a pass stick on the outside. He has the inside now. He backs off and allows Simpkins to have the turn.
That was close too, and this has also brought Timo, Toika, and Ove Trinkered back into the mix as they try to fight their way back to the front.
Oh, Coach didn't give Toika a whole lot of room there, but Toika found a hole. He's coming through. Trantere coming through too. Trantere may even think about making it 2 for 1, but no, he backs out.
And Kevin was almost taking the pit entrance lane there, trying to get by Toika. He's able to make it stick here.
Yeah, not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities really through the first part of this lap. Really, the back straight heading up into the roller coaster is your best friend there. Well, and turn 1 as well. But even when you do find an overtaking opportunity around here, they're never easy.
Yeah, through these S's, this is one of the best places, one of the most fun to drive. But you can't really pass through there. It's just got a real good flow. Coming up to Oak Tree turn, like you say, that tree no longer exists, unfortunately. But it's a really good place to get a run off somebody off this corner as we lead onto that back straight and see if we can get the draft. And we'll see if Robert can get in the draft here, make this pass.
As Timo with the draft on Robert, and that was easy.
Yeah, he just went right by him. So Timo might be running quite a bit less downforce. He's going to struggle in the turns, but he's going to get those runs up the straightaway.
Not missing anything up front. Freisha still keeping Lepisto honest, although as I say that, Lepisto just locked the tyres up into turn 1, showing that he's definitely feeling the pressure.
Yeah, these guys are nose to tail all through this section. Very tough to pass. Gurno's going to have to be patient as they come up to the S's, just kind of wait until they get around the Oak Tree and maybe get that draft. But, you know, Andy keeps making them go around the outside there at the end of the straightaway, so it's definitely making it tough on Gurno.
Meanwhile, running up in 6th position is Pablo Suarez. He's just got a bit of a lead over Barry West.
Got Martin Granberg running 5th, and you know he's 2nd in the points, so it's going to be important for him to get a strong finish here. He's about 6 seconds away from James Rawson in 4th, so he's kind of running all by himself.
Yeah, Rawson, considering the fact that by the end of lap 1, everyone 4th on back was already 4 seconds back of leaders. Rawson's doing a good job to just hand 4.7. Sorry, and we got action on track here.
Going around the Oak Tree, just gets a little wide on the gas, no traction control, and off they go out onto the golf course roughly.
Yeah, wave a yellow flag after the old Oak Tree.
It's a real shame that they've got rid of that tree there in real life, because it really was quite tricky because you couldn't see around that corner, and now it's quite opened up, so it's made it a little bit easier for drivers out there now.
Well, for clarification, they didn't get rid of it. Mother Nature got rid of it.
Yeah, that is true.
A storm passed through the area.
It was just the tree's time.
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube, but I forget who the upload is. One of the track owners or something, where they were basically driving around this circuit when it was just an old dirt path. I guess they used for motorcycle racing or something, and there were trees everywhere. You know, you could have hosted an IMSA race there back in that time. But they basically had to pave it and you know, build a racetrack and everything. And they were looking around at all the trees like, oh, we need to cut all these ones down, cut all these ones down. Oh, but that oak tree is staying. We're keeping that oak tree.
Meanwhile, Timo and Ove have teamed up. They've gotten by Kevin and Robert Simpkins. They've pulled away from them, and they're slowly creeping up on Daniel Banker here in 8th place. Like I say, trying to make up for that poor qualifying session that they had.
Yeah, they got a few more seconds until they catch up with Banker. But that's not too surprising, Richie. We talked about how tough it is to pass here. They probably lost a lot of time in the opening couple of laps just trying to carve their way through the tail end of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And Barry West is having a good run here in 7th. Started 8th, running 7th, but him and Daniel Banker are having a really good scrap for 7th and 8th. But if they're not careful, Timo has already clawed in a whole second on this last lap on them.
Spin for Salas, could have been worse. He was able to lock the brakes down and keep it off the wall. There's a lot of runoff area around here, but sometimes these cars do find the walls. And that was one that would have been easy to find for Salas. Fortunately, he was able to stop it in time.
It's one of those moments, when in doubt, both feet out. You just slam on the brakes and try to stop the car as fast as you can. No change up front. Antti Lepisto, Bruno Frisch, and Kalle Ruokola all about separated out by a second or so. And as I say that, Gurno's getting another run down that back straightaway. He's really hitting that draft hard.
Now, no Banker is running right behind Barry West right now, and, you know, maybe he would be content to race there for now, considering the fact they've still got another 20 laps left. But I don't think he should be, because Toika and Chantre are closing them both down. If he can make a move on West before they catch him, he can kind of use Barry West as a buffer to keep Toika and Chantre behind him, and, you know, maybe Banker could build up a gap ahead of West and buy himself a few more laps.
Yeah, I'm sure Daniel Banker's aware these guys are coming. They're running about a second a lap faster than Barry West, so they're working together. Timo Toika, excuse me, and Ove Trekkered, they're working together, and they're just in about a half a lap, they're going to get their opportunities to move up a spot or two.
And they're all running down Pablo Suarez. Barry West was half a second faster than the driver of the number 8 car last time by. Suarez currently running in 6th place.
It's one of those moments where you want to just, hopefully, you just turn your mirrors off and just drive your race, because I'm sure they see these guys coming, and unfortunately it makes you drive a little too hard sometimes and start making those mistakes. We're going to have a 5-car battle here, like you said, with Pablo, Barry, Daniel, Timo, and Ove in short time.
Yeah, I would say give it another lap. I'm feeling, well, West isn't really, Bank isn't really close enough to make any kind of move on West. So I have a feeling next lap down the back straight, we're going to see a pass made. I just can't put money on who it's going to be making the move, because they're all evenly spaced out right now.
It's amazing how the top 3, how these guys have pulled away from 4th place. James Rawson, they're a healthy 5 seconds ahead of him, and he's quite a bit ahead of Martin Granberg as well, about a couple seconds there.
Yeah, but they did a lot of that in the opening couple of laps, I think, Richie. Rawson has kind of been holding station about 4 or 5 seconds back ever since the end of lap 1 or 2.
Yeah, and that might have been some of the cold temperatures we had. Those 3 guys just might have had a little better feel of the car, willing to risk a little bit more at the beginning. And you're absolutely right. All that damage was done in the first 2 laps. Looking at the lap times, you know, James is running, you know, roughly about the same as the leaders.
Meanwhile, that pack for 6th place is coming up through the S's towards Oak Tree, and of course when they're coming out of Oak Tree they have that nice run down towards the roller coaster. So here we go, on the loud pedal down the back straight. Banker, Toika and Chantre were all tucked up behind each other. I don't know if any of them's really within striking range right now.
Not yet, but this is where you can roll that Jaws music, because Timo and Ove, like I say, have been working great together, and they have swallowed Daniel Banker up. They're going to get a good shot at him coming up the front straightaway, I think, going into turn 1.
All right, let's see what kind of exit Toika can get out of Hog Pen. Oh, you do have to be a little bit careful on the exit there. I think Toika may have got a little bit of that aero push coming out of the turn. And that led to him not getting as nice of a run as he would have liked, and so Banker stays ahead for another corner.
Yeah, and it's pretty much like we said, the way this track is, it's not just one corner, it's pretty much a half a lap. Because the next real opportunity is not until they go around the oak tree coming down the back straightaway. So good job with Daniel getting a good run on that front straightaway.
Yeah, and you see right in front of them, 6th and 7th are nose to tail too. West has really caught Suarez.
And because these guys are battling so much, they've really lost touch with Martin Granberg. So Martin's safe in 5th spot. He's only about 2 seconds away from James Rawson, though, so we might see a battle for 4th place before we know it.
Well, we could see a battle for the lead, because Lepisto was very slow in Oak Tree, and Fish is going to try and poke his nose in as they come up to the top of a hill, but now he's on the outside again, trying to keep alongside. You see Rucola also on the back of him.
Yeah, that is such a tough place to pass, because as they come up the hill, it's a complete blind braking zone, and then it kind of falls away from you. So if you're not too careful, you're on the outside, and you're just going to send it out into the grass. So Gurno's being careful. I think he knows he can probably get by him, just not the right time. We're only about halfway through this 26-lap race.
Well, Toyka was able to get by Bank on the back straight. It got interesting at the top of a hill where Banker almost tried to get him back, but the door closed and there was almost contact. And now Banker loses that spot to Trantere. So Toyka and Trantere continue their march up through the field. Boy, Banker's a lot later on the brakes, but I don't know if that helps him out a whole lot on the exit.
And now Toyka's just creeping up on Barry West and Pablo Suarez. These guys are doing a really good job, racing clean. And, you know, Toyka started 19th. He's running 8th. He's got a real good chance to get up to 6th place here. I don't know if I'll have enough time to catch Martin after that.
Yeah, and could that mean, Richie, that they could afford to be a little bit more patient? We've still got over half a race to go. And honestly, as you mentioned, Toyka and Trantere, there's probably only 2 more positions in it for them at this stage.
Yeah, realistically, you're right.
And sorry, battle for the lead again. Frisch this time has an even better run. This is the first time we've seen him properly up alongside Lepisto. And this time he's going to clip, contact, and Rucola gets through the second. Frisch moves Lepisto out of the way. Lepisto backs down the third. Don't think you can blame that on anyone. It's all just hard racing there. But they seem to have got away with it. What did you see here, Richie?
Yeah, it's just, I like I said, just racing incident. These guys are just 2 cars fighting for the same spot, and Gurno's tried many times to get around. He had the best position on the outside as we're coming up the back straightaway here. And, you know, Antti just didn't want to give it up. He really just stuck his nose in. His front tire hit his rear tire right about here. And, yeah, they got away with it. Unfortunately, Antti lost 2nd spot, and just good racing.
Yeah, seen a bit of argy-bargy early on here, but only 1 car in the pits, and that's quite recently, actually. Jose Diaz has pulled into his pit stall with a lot of damage. Meanwhile, another battle shaping up. Granberg has really caught Rawson over the last couple of laps for 4th.
Yeah, he's running about a half a second faster than him, so he's just steadily creeped up. They're going to get a run off the oak tree turn down on the back straight. He's in the draft right now, so the draft's about 5/10 of a second, so he's well within that.
And here we go for 2nd place. Lepisto wants to get one of those spots back, but Rucola, I'm sure, feels like he earned 2nd spot. Lepisto says, nah, not quite, buddy. I want to see if I can say hi to Frisch again.
Yeah, he really shut the door down on Kale on that, and he's determined. He's got his head down, try to get back up to Gurno and try to get that 1st position back for himself.
We are halfway through this event here at Virginia International Raceway. You're watching the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship here on the Global SimRacing Channel, the #1 North American broadcaster for iRacing. And we have a lot of battles on track here. We just saw a pass for second. There's a battle for 4th shaping up, and there's still a good one going on for 7th right now. Barry West with Toyka all over the back of him as they go to turn 1, and Toyka overcooks it and off into the Appalachian Mountains almost.
Yeah, unfortunately, all that work that Toyka did, he's just lost. So he just got a little aggressive going into this corner. And once you drop that wheel in the grass, it's really hard to recover. There he goes. Looks like he just locked the front end up on the brakes.
So that was a position for Ove Trantre, and now Trantre gets to lead the train of cars coming from the back, of which actually he's the only driver left in that train right now, trying to find a way by Barry West for 7th.
Yeah, and he's right on the back of Barry West, so he's going to get his shot when we come up out of this corner once again on this long back stretch. He's well within the drafting area. Barry's going to, looks like Barry's going to, well, he's going to go to the inside. He's going to make Ove try to go around the outside, and here he comes. He's pulling out. Let's see if he can outbrake him. And not too much difficulty there. He looks like Barry kind of gave him the spot.
It is not unusual in this series, whether you like it or not, for a driver, even when battling for the win of a race, to yield a position if they feel like they did not earn it justly. And Jono Fries just asked Dante Lepisto in the chat, was that move okay that I did on you, now that Fries is back into 2nd? Lepisto has not responded, so currently Jono continues to lead this race by 2 seconds. But even if Fries did think about handing the lead back to Lepisto, he better be careful about how much he backs off, because Ricola's still all over the back of the car in 2nd place.
I thought that move was absolutely fair. It's just two guys fighting for the same spot. No harm, no foul. I would have been a little disappointed, I think, if Gurno would have let him by, because he earned that spot.
Battle for 9th going into the S's. This isn't where you normally see a move, but Toyka takes it from Banker. That was a little bit easier than the first time he came up on him.
Yeah, you got to be pretty aggressive to make these moves to the S's, and I think Toyka might be a little upset with himself for going off and giving all these positions back, but yeah, he just forces his way through, and thank you very much. Meanwhile, Ove is he's about 2 seconds away from Pablo Suarez, but he's running about 0.6 of a lap faster, so it shouldn't be long before he's able to get a chance to try to take that 6th position. That'd be really great since he started 18th.
Lepisto is not able to run down Fries. It's now evident that Fries has got the lead back. Remember, Fries qualified on pole by 0.6 of a second. He only lost it because of a bad launch off a line. He's been able to build his lead up over Lepisto, and Lepisto really, I can't imagine he should be too worried about the lead when he's got Ricola all over the back of him right now with just a little over 10 laps left to go.
Now we got a couple of good 2-car battles out there with Antti and Kalle, but also James Ross and Martin Granberg. Granberg's right up on his tail, coming up to the oak tree. And we'll see if he can get a shot at maybe taking that 4th place away from him. They're coming up to that oak tree just about now.
And lap traffic will soon start to become a bit of an issue for the leaders. Not only that, but battling lap traffic. Nathan Clark just took 18th place from Johnny Bell up the back straight, and not too far behind him is Jono Fries. Well, of course, it'll be easy for those two to let Fries by, and even if they don't, Fries has a 2-second cushion behind him. But when that battle for 2nd and that battle for 4th approaches these two cars battling for 18th, that's where things could get interesting in the closing stages here.
Yeah, absolutely, especially if they catch them like through the S's and stuff. There's just no way by without big risk, so they're going to just have to wait their turn, and that could stack everybody up behind them.
Jose Diaz has officially retired from the race. We had 20 starters, 19 cars still left running, and for now, they're all still on the lead lap, although I don't think that's going to last for a whole much longer. Let's give you a run of as many of these cars as we can before the battles heat up. Currently it's Jono Feach with well-documented his race. He started in pole position, dropped back at the start, made a bit of an aggressive move to get the top spot back. Wasn't entirely clean, but hard fought, well earned. And currently he's leading the race by about 3 seconds over Antti Lepisto, who has Rucola all over the back of him as they work their way up through the S's, running in second and third positions. James Rawson and Martin Gramberg currently battling for fourth, and back eighth though. Richie, the battle's really on.
Yeah, here comes Timo, just forces his way through on Barry West. I don't know if I'll be able to get a replay of that because that was pretty impressive. Yeah, here he comes. Here comes the replay. And he got right up on behind him coming through turns 2 and 3, coming up the S's. And you'll see here in a turn or two, I was watching this live, and he just muscles his way through Barry on this one.
And that's the second pass we've seen Timo do, the second consecutive pass, Richie, that he's done in the S's. Yeah,
it's underappreciated how fast that section is.
Rucola, sorry Richie, Rucola's all over the back of Lepisto. They finally caught lap traffic and Rucola's trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that lap traffic came into play just like you said. We'll try to go around the outside. Andy Lepisto was not giving him any of that. With these guys fighting though, it's allowed Gurno to get a 3.5 second lead. So Gurno's just kind of taking off. The battle for second is really heating up though.
Yeah, that was Johnny Bell was the laps car they were going by, and Rawson and Gramberg about to catch him up through the S's actually, probably, Richie. So hopefully Rawson doesn't get held up too much here.
Here they come up to the oak tree, and that guy's right in the, well, it's not a bad spot. He can get over to the right, let these guys go.
Oh, also, out into the grass, gave him too much room.
Also just watching Pablo Suarez and Oves right on the back of him for 6th place as they come up to the oak tree themselves. You know, if Ove can get around Suarez, it's probably about as far as he can get up this field because he's a healthy 14 seconds behind Martin Granberg, but it's a really good run starting 18th in this pack. Gonna go around the outside once again. And fairly easy pass. You know, sometimes you see these guys in your mirror, you know they're faster than you. So there's no point in risking it. Just let them go and just find your spot here.
Yeah, that's probably going to be all that Trandre can do. Now he's finally worked his way up into 6th place. He has 12 seconds up the road to catch Martin Granberg. And let's take a look at the lap times here. Trandre, I mean, obviously his last lap would have been a bit affected due to making that pass. Oh, and here we go. The battle for second has concluded, at least for now. Rucola has got ahead of Lepisto.
Yeah, he made a beautiful pass around the outside. And this battle's not over, though.
Yeah, concluded was a bad word there. Maybe changed hands.
Right on the inside. Looks like Andy Lepisto locked up his tire just a little bit. Gave that opening for Kale, and he took it. But if you go back live, they are up at the oak tree, and Ente's right in his draft, so he's going to get another shot at him at the end of the straightaway.
Now, last lap at the oak tree, we got our second casualty of a race. Francisco Javier Gutierrez completely overshot the turn and went into the wall. He's currently sitting in the pits for the V17 car as Lepisto takes second back.
He definitely put a stamp on that and sent it in there deep. He wasn't going to be he was going to take that from him no matter what. And now it's Kale's turn to give that move back to him as they come down the front straightaway going into turn 1.
He gets the draft. He looks to the outside. Nothing happening yet. He might attempt some kind of crossover.
This is where Kale got him last time, but Andy Lepisto didn't make the same mistake. I think he like locking up the front tires and I'm just going to have to be patient coming through the S's. But Calais, man, he's not giving up. He is right on his gearbox, and he's probably waiting for his chance to get back by him, do the same thing to what Annie did him on this backstretch after the Oak Tomb.
This has got to feel like one of the longest races of the season for these drivers. 26 laps with all these twists and turns of this circuit. Meanwhile, bad news for Robert Simpkins fans. He's had to bring it in for an unscheduled stop after an off-track excursion. All right, are we about to see second place change hands again?
He's got a great run coming out off the oak tree. Kylie's right in his draft, and we'll see if he does the same thing that Annie did to him. Just go to the outside and just send it into the corner.
Gets a nice run. He almost hasn't cleared, not quite. Lepisto, though, yields a position for now. I'm sure it's not the last time we've seen this P2 trade hands. If they do it too much, though, Rawson and Granberg could catch him.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Rawson's able to catch up. I mean, these guys have been fighting, so their last laps were in the mid-high 38s, whereas Rawson's running the mid-37s, and he's bringing Martin Granberg with him. But here we go. Annie Lepisto's looking for a spot going into turn one. Very tough to do that pass on the outside.
Yeah, still 6 laps of this left.
Right behind them, you just saw Martin Granberg also go on the inside of James Rawson, so we had a position change for a 4th and 5th.
Let's get a quick replay of what happened here, because I have a feeling things will get dicey again when we get back around to the back straight.
It looks like Rawson just went a little deep into turn one, opened that door for Martin Granberg. And now, Martin Granberg's running quick lap times, and I don't think it's going to be long before he catches up to Ante if these guys keep fighting like they're doing. Colley's got a little bit of a gap. Well, not much. They'll come around the oak tree. Annie Lepisto is going to be in his draft, and I think it's going to be one of those things. Which position do you want going into the last lap? Do you want to be leading at this point, or in the third position and make that last lap pass?
Yeah, remind all this is going on for second back to 5th. The Prix is currently leading this race by 7 seconds now that these guys have started scrapping it out quite hard. 7th place heating up too. Troika has run Suarez back down. Couple spins for drivers towards the tail end of the top 10 too, but right now, nice move by Troika, and he's up into 7th. So, really, in a way, this has kind of recovered what Troika lost with that big mistake he had in turn 1 earlier at Prix. The only spot he hasn't got back is from Trandre, but I had a feeling Trandre was a little bit faster anyway. Yeah,
I think Ove was just, being patient and letting Timo to cut his way through, and he's only about 2 seconds though behind Ove, so we still have 5 laps. He's got a chance if he puts his head down to maybe catch back up and try to get that 6th position back from him.
Especially in these old F1 cars, you always want 6th over 7th. This sounds better when you consider for the longest time in Formula One's history, only the top 6 positions paid points.
Meanwhile, Gurno's just dumped these guys. He's 7.2 seconds. He's running in the 36s, 37s, and he basically, he's shown his dominance once again in this field.
All right, Lepisto has a nice run on Rucola again. Probably not the last time we're going to see this trade positions. If it does so, it's not even going to do so, though. Lepisto not able to really get up alongside him that time.
And, Annie Lepisto might be trying to be a little bit patient. He's seen those moves back and forth on that backstretch as we get closer to the end. He might want to stay in this position and then just make that one move right at the end on the last lap.
Which is quickly closing in on lap 23 of 26.
Everybody's a little bit spread out a tiny bit. Not really any heavy battles going on besides we got Kale and Ante kind of close, and also right behind them, Martin Granberg and James Rawson. They're closing back in on Annie Lepisto, though. They're only about 1.6 seconds behind.
Maybe this is why Ante... Oh, and big moment for Ante, and he's sliding through the glass, comes back on the track, drops to 5th.
Oh, that's really unfortunate because he just gave up 2 spots that he fought so hard for.
And I was just about to say, Richie, maybe that's why Ante stopped, didn't take a move on Rucola last lap around. He was thinking, okay, I got to start worrying about these 2 cars by me now. Well, now he really has to worry about them. He's got to worry about trying to run them down in the last 3.5 laps here and passing them again.
Yeah, he just got a little bit of wide, dropped into that clay on the outside of the curbing, and he did a good job of keeping the car going straight, but definitely lost 2 really important positions. It's really a big deal for Martin Granberg because this is going to be good for him in the points, being all the way up to 3rd right now.
Not going to help him catch Friesch, though.
No, Friesch is definitely on another planet, but it's a long season, and we'll take anything. He can probably take anything he can get.
Oh, another mistake for Lepisto. He's off at Hogpen. That's going to ruin, I think, any chances he has of running 3rd and 4th back down.
Yeah, he's driving the car a little bit maybe too hard and getting those tires a little overheated. He's safely in that 5th position, so he'll probably just kind of chill out, just finish the race out here.
Rucola, likewise, I would say, can probably just chill in 2nd place right now. He's got over 2 seconds back to Granberg and Rawson. I think that's really going to be the battle to the end here, although saying that, Granberg has pulled away just this lap from Rawson. Rawson must have made some kind of mistake in that 1st sector back there.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a gap. This is important because as they come up to the oak tree, he's got a good 1 second gap. So James is a little bit out of that draft zone. Not much going on the rest of the field. Everybody's kind of spread out. A good healthy 2 or 3 seconds, if not more, from each other.
Still nice seeing 18 cars running at the end here of our 20 starters. A lot of that due to the fact that even though we have seen a fair amount of mistakes today, there's wide runoff areas here where drivers can recover and get going again. Not going to see that this time next week, Richie, when we're in Detroit.
No, I look forward to that because I've raced that track personally. I love that track. I've played with it on here already. It's going to be a really exciting race. And we might see some carnage, but I think we'll see some exciting racing as well.
And probably all of the big names are going to be there to see what this old F1 car can do on that new circuit here on the iRacing sim.
It'll be kind of like watching old school, these guys racing at the old school Long Beach Grand Prix back in the late 70s.
So with just 1.5 laps left to go for our race leader, Jeannot Friesch, looks like most of the battles on the track have resolved. The first time we saw Friesch this season was where he was racing Moreira and Lepisto at Watkins Glen. Moreira came out on top of that. 1 week ago, though, Friesch took the spoils when he was battling Puhaka on the last lap. Got a little bit of help from Puhaka on the last lap. There was contact between them, and Puhaka kind of yielded the position, let Friesch take the win. Well, there was a bit of contact today for Friesch to get the lead as well. It was a little bit cleaner, though, a little bit more forgivable. Unfortunately, for the other driver on the other side of that battle, hasn't been smooth sailing for Lepisto. He was leading the race for quite a long time. He's now all the way back in 5th place as they start the final lap.
Yeah, not many battles going on. Everybody's separated out just enough to not be able to make any moves. So we're just kind of holding steady for this last lap.
One car in front of Friesch that you see there, don't know if they'll catch him and lap him this lap. That is Steve Salis, the driver who started in last place. We've documented Ove Trantre and Timo Troika's marches up through the field where they're running 6th and 7th respectively right now. Well, Steve started in 20th, currently running 13th, so fairly decent day for him. I believe he's had a couple of spins out there as well, but that number 16 car's still running, and he might be able to come out of here with a lead lap finish as well, with Frisch's feeling nice.
And we got Gurno Frisch coming up to the oak tree for the last time today. Really healthy 6-second lead. He looks like he's taking it easy on this last lap. Coming down the back straightaway for the last time. No mistakes. He's got this win in the bag.
Well, with the trickiness of the roller coaster and the hog pen that Frisch is about to go through on this final lap, I wouldn't be giving it to him yet. In fact, even Antti Lepisto running in 5th place had a mistake on the last lap just now, but gets back on track, still in 5th. Sure enough, though, Frisch was just a couple of turns left to go here. Just keep on that grey stuff. You got 7 seconds behind you. Actually, he's already brought it down to 6. He's been taking this last lap quite easily. But Gurno Frisch is going to take a well-earned victory here at Virginia International Raceway.
We got Kalle Ruokola coming in 2nd. Well earned for him. He had quite a battle going on. Here comes Martin Grandberg as well. Him and James Rawson had a really good battle there. Very good job to both those guys.
Pisto will round up the top 5. Trandre from 18th to 6th. Toika from 19th to 7th, finishing about 5 seconds back of Trandre when that was all said and done. Pablo Suarez, Barry West and Daniel Banker going to round out top 10. I believe that's the first top 10 for Barry West this season after a bit of bad luck in the opening couple of rounds. Well, definitely a lot of excitement towards the front end of the field and also throughout the entire field here today at Virginia International Raceway. Good to see a lot of the cars running at the end, a lot of battles on track all the way down to the checkered flag. We'll get to give you a full race rundown as well as drive interviews here on the Global SimRacing Channel in just a few moments. Don't go away. Hello and welcome back to Virginia International Raceway, where we just witnessed round 3 of the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship here, live on the #1 North American broadcaster for iRacing, the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Samuel Ryman, alongside me in the booth is Richie Hearn, but down on the track it was Journo Friesch. We were watching most of the race. Started on pole, won the race, wasn't without a fight though with Antti Lepisto, who faded back to a 5th place finish by the time all things were said and done. In between them were Kaylee Rucola in 2nd, Martin Granberg in 3rd, and James Rawson in 4th. Ove Trantre and Timo Toika rallied up through the field all day long. The finish in 6th and 7th positions in the respectively numbered cars. Likewise, actually, for Pablo Suarez in 8th, Barry West in 9th, there's number 11 of Daniel Bancados screwing things up in 10th.
Yeah, coming into the 11th position was Pekka Kalahara. We didn't hear much for him, but he started 14th and finished 11th. Behind him was Kevin Kolschny. Steve Sarlis had an eventful race. Good for him hanging in there, finishing on the lead lap in 13th. Behind him, Arthur Rast, 14th. Charles Eric Lemelin, 15th. Johnny Bell, Robert Simpkins, respectively 16th and 17th. Then Nathan Clark in 18th, and Francisco Gutierrez, in 19th, and Jose Diaz, who did retire, was our only retirement, I think, in 20th spot.
Well, we've called up with our race winner, Journo Friesch. First off, Journo, congratulations on your 2nd victory in a row.
Thank you very much. It was a really good race, and great race on a great track.
Well, 2 things stand out about the race that we saw you have. The first was the start. You did not get a good launch heading down into the first corner.
Well, it's true. I used rather long first gear here because it helps in all those very slow corners, but yeah, it compromises the start. So I think that contributed to being second after the first corner.
However, you did eventually get the lead back. You've been trying to pass Lepisto up the hill all race long. You finally did it. There was a tiny bit of contact between the two of you. It kind of pushed the Lepisto out wide and he fell back to 3rd. And I saw you ask him in the chat, hey, I hope that was clean, basically. Did you get a response from Lepisto?
No, I didn't, but I think that meant that it was okay. It's always easy to judge an accident if you see a replay. If you're in car, it's hard to judge if you gave enough room. So that's why I was asking, and it was a good timing to ask because Antti was second at that point, and before Kalle was in between us, so that made things more complicated.
Well, have you had a chance now that the race is over to go back and watch the incident from a spectator's perspective?
Yeah, I did check it. Check the replay. I think things were okay. Just a racing incident.
Yeah, things a little bit rough out there. You guys weren't the only ones putting on a great show for us. And of course, when things did go south for some of the drivers at the tail end of the field, they had all that grass that they could spin around and, get away with it. You're not going to have that fortune in a week's time, though. You're going to the street circuit at Detroit. How do you feel about that?
Hard to say because it's a new track for everyone. I haven't spent much time there yet, so yeah, I've kissed the walls quite a few times so far. So it will be a challenge, and we'll need some serious practice to get safe there.
Well, you're not in a Corvette, so you should be all right. All right, Journo, congratulations on your victory. We'll see you hopefully on the podium in a week's time.
Hope so too. Thank you, guys. Congrats to Kalle and Martin as well. Bye-bye.
All right, our other podium finishers are a bit tied up, Richie, but we have another one of our top 10 finishers, Barry West, you've called up with.
Barry, good talking to you again here this week. Really good job. Started 8th, finished 9th, but it was a fairly clean race. And, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, just watching it back now. I was quite happy, comfortable, and I it was a good battle with Daniel, and then I think Timo caught me on the top before we dropped down, and I got a bit of damage then, which I think slowed me up a bit. But I lifted as Ove was behind me. I didn't realise it was Ove. I thought it was Timo because he was all over the back of me. I thought, well, he's obviously faster, and if I carry on defending like this, Daniel's going to be back up on me. So I lifted to let, as I thought, Ove through, Timo through, and it was Ove, and didn't realise Timo had come off on turn one. Yeah, I just didn't have the grip levels. I dropped the tyre pressures and took a bit of wing off, but he seemed a lot faster in a straight line. So just lifted and let him through when we went through the S's together. He dived up the inside, and that could have been disaster if I hadn't lifted. I mean, pretty tricky place to let somebody by, I must admit. But I had to let him by, because if I'd have took me a normal line, we'd have both been in the hedge. But yeah, it was good race. I mean, I was racing Pablo, to be honest. I wanted to get Pablo and caught him up, and then trouble is when I made my attempt on him, I lost time, and that put Team May and Over back up on us. So yeah, it was a good race. So I'd finished P8, P9, something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say something about that. Ove and Timo didn't have a good qualifying session, but they were coming through hot. And I was going to ask you, like, what did you think when you saw them coming? Because they started all the way back in 18th and 19th, but they were just moving right through.
I thought they would. I did a race earlier with Ove. It was me, Ove, and Gurno, and Ove got past me, and then I made a mistake, and then I had a wobble, and he hit me. So I owed him one from the previous race. So that's why I lifted when he went by, and I'm glad he got a good result, because he finished, I think, last in the last race, and I stayed second. So yeah, it was a good race. Yeah, good race. Okay, hopefully it was good for you guys as well. There's plenty going on. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good race for us to watch, for sure. Want to ask you though, obviously this track is, wide open, a little tricky if you get off the track, but you have grass. Next week's Detroit. Have you done much practicing there? Because it's going to be a little different style.
No, I've not done anything at all there. That is going to be interesting. Yeah, I haven't done anything at all. In fact, yeah, Sunday. Yeah, I'll be there Sunday, but. Yeah, hopefully get some good points this week. There's not a very good turnout this week. There's only, 20-odd cars, no split?
Yeah, 20 cars.
Yeah, so I don't know what the points situation is going to be like. But I think a lot of people, I don't know why people don't like racing this track, because it is such a technical track. And you can if you set the car up really light for less wing, you can really do well on the straight overtaking. But then if you compromise, you're obviously in the corners. But it's a really good track. It's a really technical track. That last little dip down before the start finish that's where I'm slow. I'm just going in too hot all the time, I think.
Well, I agree. It's definitely a fun track to drive. Well, congratulations on that top 10 finish, and hope to see you maybe a little higher up next week.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. Cheers.
All right, and that was our ninth place finish out there today, Barry West. I think I can be forgiven for not knowing that off the top of my head, considering he didn't either. Well, Richie, we definitely saw an interesting race out there today, and man, it doesn't seem like even the drivers know what to expect next week when we go to Detroit. So, man, that's definitely going to be one worth tuning in for.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. I love that place. In an IndyCar race there in real life. So I'm looking forward to seeing these guys out there.
All right, and we hope to see all of you there too. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. We'd also like to thank all the organisers and the competitors in the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship for choosing GSRC and coming here, putting on a great show for all of you. Got some additional thanks, including the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. There you see them listed on your screen. Additional thanks also to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde to provide us with our great music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Richie, Amjad and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are listed on screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.